either of the two of you need anything?
Hello.
No, you're good.
Okay. I'm gonna do the thing.
What's up, guy?
You.
Come on, puppies. Come on.
What happened?
I was saying, tell my dogs to come in the room.
Gotcha. Alright,
Oh,
we
yeah.
are live-o.
Hello.
I live!
Yeah. Now tell me all what yours needs my help.
Boink.
Borg.
Hello.
Oi! Extreme close-up. Whoa.
Deke. Anyway. Welcome to Roleplay Rants.
Sunday! Roleplay Rants!
Oi.
Roleplay Rants.
Ow.
That sounded like you just conked your head on the mic.
My knee, but close enough.
Yes. The knee bone connected to the hand bone.
No. None of that.
Ah.
Shame on you.
Shame.
Shame.
Well, we got two topics today. One of them was at Button Masher's request. And that's what to do when a noob is being a noob and you try to help them and it backfires. Which seems to happen in her case often.
Now, what would we say? Backfires how? What's a good scenario
Backfire
for
is,
this?
cursing you out, saying, I know what I'm doing,
Oh, okay.
stuff like
So that's
that kind of bullshit.
that kind of bullshit. All right.
I mean, easy and simple of... Hey, Abel.
Abel!
Easily and simple and offensive that is to just leave them alone.
Yeah. You wash your hands, leave them to their own devices.
And click the block button.
Let them suffer.
They will
And
learn
fail.
the hard way in character. By either getting their character killed or beating the crap out of
From my brain to your mouth, Wolf.
them. You know what grinds my gears?
Strippers?
Specifically vampire
grinding
ones that
on
want to
my
message Sicky and ask him to ravish them.
See, I was just going to make a joke about grinding, but you know what? This actually led into a topic. For once, I did something right.
Yeah.
Tie in. Because that's what happened the other night.
Ba-ba.
It was another person, again, who decided not to say hello or anything, just decided to throw an intro in French.
Ah. Qu'est-ce que c'est?
And I'm like,
It's-
well, I didn't respond back. I just blocked. I was like, one, my character's married. Two, no.
You notice anytime that a rando decides that they want to get and talk with your character, it's never like to discuss pleasantries. Like, hey, would you like to have tea? Would you like to go watch the big game? It's always, would you like to do me in the ass?
Right?
Gotta make sure you get that
I
upward
know
inflection.
Gus was asking for... There you go. I'm sending Gus the link here.
For a second, I thought you were gonna say that Gus was asking to get fucked in the ass, and I was like, oh.
No.
I was gonna be like, I didn't know he had it in him. Well, clearly he wants it in him.
Gus is going to enjoy this if they get around to watching this on unlockable content.
Right.
Oh boy.
Kita's not on the list, but she said
I will-
she was going to pop in.
They can follow the links.
Yeah. But,
Do while I feel stuff in the background.
another thing I was going to talk about for today's topic is some of the T1 stuff, because I wanted to cover some of that.
Mhm.
But, we're it's like, noobs, still covering noobs here.
I'm sorry, you've got I keep getting a glistening of glitter on your cheek and it's bugging me.
Well, I don't know. Fairy jizzing on my face in the middle of the night?
That's between you and the fairy.
But
Wait, now I have fairies wear boots in my head. Like, any random phrase will get some sort of metal song stuck in my head. In this case, it's Black Sabbath. Fairies wear boots, yeah, you gotta believe me. I saw it with my own two eyes.
Oh my god. But what was I talking about? Oh yeah, noobs popping in. I've been seeing a lot of new faces lately, like random faces, and I don't know if they're just new people or other people's making new characters. Which is another thing. It's like a lot of people want to play the guessing game, like guess who I am. Like don't give a fuck.
Are these other people playing like noobs, trying to?
Oh yeah, we have
play
people.
up the
We do.
joke?
There are people that do that. But then you have like actual new people showing up.
I almost feel like if you really know the rules and you know what you're doing, it's almost harder. You feel like you have to try harder to come off like a noob. Like you can almost tell the difference between an unseasoned noob and someone trying to play noob.
My thing is funny is when we'll get like new people that say that they role played on like AOL and MSN like back in the day, but still not proper grammar, and it's like, and I'm the last person to really talk about grammar, but like they'll type U, the letter U instead of U, and they'll like shorthand LOL, stuff like that. It's like
maybe out of chat, but you don't do that in character.
And it's like, I don't like how could you say you've been doing this long and yet you can't? You're still like that.
But like you said, I'm not really one to talk because somehow I missed the memo on which
the OOC marks.
Symbols you're supposed to use for in character and out of
which
character.
Which is funny because I've always used brackets or parentheses.
I swear to God, until I talk to you, no one's ever corrected me on this.
I mean, yeah, but your roleplay experience is usually with like normal chat rooms.
Yeah,
not like
not a
actual
dedicated
roleplays.
yeah, not a dedicated site.
So I can imagine how things are completely different.
Yeah.
It's funny how different like places are.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's a topic we can cover that me, Fluff, and a lot of people in role pages know very well. When you come from another site and you try to bring your stuff from that site over.
Right and wrong ways, definitely.
For example, right way, I brought Sicky and the Realms of the Citadel stuff over, but it's not core to what the site is.
Well, I mean,
it's bio that more than anything.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing a similar thing with Chaton. It's from a LARP that we started.
Yeah.
And when I get into a better habit of logging in and role playing, I'm going to make it's pretty much only going to be like a one-off, maybe a quick reference thing where I say this is where I was from and how it was, and I'm going to use that as my lead into how are things here.
Yeah.
And that's all right. You acknowledge there was a past. You can, reference your past, but you can't force integration.
And that's what we had with the guild. It was the guild. We had a person who came from a site called Gates, or Gatelands, which we literally went to spy on, like to figure out who these people were, because there was a whole group of them that just came at once, and it was really weird because they had these very strict rules. You could only paragraph. There's like the rules are really strict, but actually, what's their chat? And it just endless scrolling of one-liners like one-liners off the bat, and like you couldn't even keep up because it was just year. And I'm like, I don't get. I was like, is this really a site they came from? Because they weren't bad role players. They knew how to role play. They just were bad role players.
Yeah.
Except for one. There was one person good at it, and that was Kaler.
We like Kaler.
Kaler's nice. Kaler's a good guy. And it was funny because, like, you know, Kaler is now, like, an integral part of the lore now. Because he's in with Twine and Kita and all that. Lime has, like, reformed his character so many times, trying to, like, not be Lime anymore, because that's how he came over. Which, by the way, Asa, Lime's new incarnation, got a little interested in Adol. I was playing Adol today. He thinks she's a sorcerer.
I
And she, like, kind of semi-corrected him. Like, no, the books I have actually belong to somebody who doesn't do magic. And that's my my master and everything, and he may or may not be trying to take over the world.
Sorry.
But excuse me. I get itchy. But it was like, but some of the things that he would do is he would interrupt, like, planned events and try to, like, go on people's... Because, like, the Roll Pages has a location system. You can make your own little, like, thing on the map or world or whatever. He would go to the main ones that had chat rooms and everything and try to, like, quite literally plant these, like, little wispings to spy on everyone. Like, he was playing some sort of weird hero that had this, like, subtext try to take over the world kind of thing going. He planted, like, this giant tree that connected one of his, like, friends to, like, the world or blah, blah, blah. There was, like, a whole bunch of different stuff that he did. And, like, I distinctly remember, because me and Kaler were role-playing the other day, and I was playing as Juge. He went to my character's island, tried to do that, and they're like, are the wisp energy? Cool, well, the island absorbs energy. So, like, get that shit out of here. This is my area. Don't do shit. And in every fucking time.
If you can hear me over the sound, we got the ferrets a new cage, and they're trying to figure out that the plastic at the bottom is really all that there is.
You sleep all fucking day. Until now, and you got a scratch. Thank you.
I promise you, you've hit rock bottom.
Quite literally.
Well, plastic one.
Yes, thank you.
I can see the bars jumping.
That's actually picking up really loud.
Yeah, I had you muted this morning. Because your music, while you were cleaning dishes, was, like, clanging everywhere.
Sorry.
But, anyway. FELIX!
Who is it?
FELIX, of course.
Felix.
I think my favorite part about the whole shebang with that
Yeeting the
was
statue.
not the
Yeah,
the ferrets with Lime
Uh-huh.
was when he decided to try and do sneaky shit in Paracosm.
Yeah, that.
And then he was surprised when in character he was marked as an enemy of the state. Because in and out of character he was doing bad things.
He was trying to, like, fuse himself through the Dark Tower walls.
Mm-hmm. And he was basically trying to co-opt a Tea Party event
Like,
that was
never
going on.
fails. Every time.
Come over here, you.
Little digger over there.
Well, I mean, what do you expect? His name's Felix.
I'm out of the cage.
Let me out, let me out. That's what he was doing. But yeah, he was like sneaking around trying to get into the Dark Tower, like doing a whole bunch of stuff. And then when he was called out out of character and in character, and trying to justify his actions.
Yep. So we basically banned him from the location for being a dick in OOC, but also made really swift enemies of Paracosm the faction in character, because even without being a dick, you don't just go into a nation's capital and try and sneak around government buildings. That's just a really stupid idea.
During a scheduled event, too.
Mm-hmm.
And he tried to, Oh, and that's another thing he would do. He would actually, like, ignore people's scheduled events and schedule his own and try to have them happen at the same time.
Oh, that, yeah.
This person you're saying got better about it?
No.
Oh.
No.
No, nobody
There's
really
no
RPs
tool.
with this character, except for, like, some of the few new people.
Okay.
Just kind of a tool.
Yeah. And his current character now is no different than his first character. He's like very like, very like talkative, hoity-toity, doesn't really have anything to back it up, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like people like that, you don't just like bring your own stuff in and try to. And then we all know how the Kirks did the same thing too.
No, yeah, it's the right and wrong way, and it can work in your character too. There is nothing wrong with referencing if you came from another place and you're like homesick. Like you can play up elements of where you came from and what your background was, and make those core character traits.
Yeah,
but there's a difference between saying
I see
it's
Gus
like
here.
it's like showing up somewhere. I'm trying to make up like a good analogy. It's like going to a foreign country and expecting more America.
yeah.
It's like you can't do that. You gotta accept that you're in a new place.
Yeah, it's like adapting lore is different, but like trying to like force it into something, we were not having that.
And again, communication. You can ask people to work with elements of your former place, and again, you can develop some integration.
And like
but you gotta talk to people about it first.
We actually like all formulated. He had an event that he was gonna take their guild ship somewhere, and he like just decided to park the ship, or he was going to park the ship over Kita's area, Twine.
I'm listening to it. I put Felix in the ball, and I'm just watching to make sure he doesn't like.
And
pop the
we had a whole plan of shooting it down, and he got. But beforehand, there was a talk in OOC between him and Cheerlatch about like, hey, if you're gonna do this stuff like this, people are gonna act this way. He got salty and just like downed the ship himself.
Okay.
And like ended the roleplay for him and his group, and they were all salty about it because like, why would you do that? He's like, well, people won't let me do shit, and I was like, well, I have a problem with you doing shit. Just consequences to actions here in character. Like, if your character's gonna be an asshole to everybody, people tend to bump back.
Yeah.
Especially characters like the maids, who are really good at getting really upset over the really slight, really, really slight inconveniences.
Yeah. I was like, I play Siki as a bad guy and piss people off all the time, and they usually end up retaliating, which is fine, because that's the point.
Mm-hmm.
But like I can tell you guys now in advance for those of you that will listen and care from role pages, Chaton is going to reference the previous realm that he was in because he was a diplomatic official and someone of importance. The fact that he's somewhere new is going to be a shock to the system. So it's going to be a reference point.
Yeah.
Learning how to be in this new place.
Yeah, which is good. This is a fine way to do it.
And and if people take issue with with that, just I guess little tidbit. If you're going to try and come at him, make sure you're doing it with weapons made of light, because nothing else is going to hurt him.
But yeah, I mean, when you're in a new realm, you're like, whoa, what the hell am I, kind of thing. Like, yeah that's fine. But we've had a lot of people like.
I'm gonna grab the ball.
Yeah, I see him run over there. We had a lot of people come in like, I'm king of this, I'm emperor of that, and it's like, cool, where?
Yeah.
Even
like,
people
this
who
nation. I was
have
like, you're
been
not
around
here-
for a little while try and use another place as authority. Like, there'll be people, it's like, I am the god of X number of realm, and it's like, okay, that's cool. That's not here.
Yeah.
Turn around, you.
It's like, you know, if you're the king of France, it doesn't do anything in Germany.
His eyes glowing.
Yeah, so he's a changeling. But
Roll down the hall. Go that way.
but yeah, like we've had people like that all the time. Like, I'm the king of such and such. I'm like, what kingdom is that? It's not on this planet.
Yeah.
And even if it is, this isn't your kingdom anyway.
No.
And like,
Yeah.
I like.
I know you said you're a god of war or something. We have our own god of war.
Keep fair, Paul. Thank you, Abel.
Yes.
But
Felix appreciates it.
but yeah, we had that one girl that tried to like get with Yule, and be. Oh, yeah, and always somebody like nobody has their character that plays like a king or something, and has it like defend themselves. They always have like this army or security force and everything. Now Mora has her 4 zealot guards, and the only reason why she has those 4 zealot guards is because they won't fucking leave her alone. They're part of a cult that worships her as a god. She can't do anything about it. She tells them to go away, but they follow her anyway.
Is she playing multiple characters in this case?
No.
So these are other people that agree
No. They're NPC'd.
No, but I'm saying she's playing as these NPC characters?
Yes.
On her own?
Yeah, Mora is one of my characters.
Alright.
And there's a guy that tried to be my wife, and let's just leave it at that. Well, Abel, you and Arrow and a few other people had that problem. Where like, I remember Arrow.
But what about the baby?
Yeah, Arrow had ran into this streak of random girls like showing up, like, oh, I'm pregnant, I have a child, and he's like, what?
Huh.
Like we didn't even do anything, and there are people like that as well. They're like, oh yeah, we have a son, we have a child, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, we don't. Sorry, bye.
It's like, I really have to stop and wonder, the people that try and show up as noobs and claim that they're lord of whatever such and such place prior to being here, is this something that they're actually trying to carry over, or do they have some kind of ill-conceived notion that this is somehow going to garner them authority right off the bat?
A little bit of both.
It's usually
Like,
that.
But I really have to question what the mentality is here. Do you really think you're going to go to an established site and everyone's going to kowtow to you just because you claim to be a lord? Like what is the misfiring synapse here?
well, it's the same reason why people just create gods off the bat. They think that they are gonna have some kind of edge or whatever.
Right.
But yeah,
But,
it's
authority?
a little. Well, yeah, but there's a little bit of like people just creating stuff because they want something big and nice.
Yeah.
And there is something like it probably was from another site that they had. Like we had a few from Fairies and Vampires, the site I used to be on before that completely shut down, and I moved over.
Just went into Jess's room. Let me go.
Okay,
Sorry, I got a ferret wrangle.
I'll finish when you get back. But yeah. You got him?
He's still in the ball, but he was going into Jess's room. Yeah. We're good.
But what was it? Oh, yeah, there were 2 instances of this. So there were 2 families. There was a Dragonheart Kingdom. He was run by Vincent. Vincent Dragonheart. I knew him for a little bit. He kind of became an asshole, but. And then there was the Malik family. And those 2 people were kind of well known on that site, and then after that site kind of fell apart, and deleted basically, they moved over here to Roll Pages. Now, Vincent Dragonheart moved over, but he kept himself isolated to his location, so it just whatever happened. It didn't matter. There was no, and every now and then a few of them would pop in the chat and everything. But like I said, they didn't like throw themselves in and be like, yeah, we're blah 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 blah. I was like, no, we came. They played it like it nicely. You know, yeah, we're from another realm. We came here to start over. Our kingdom was kind of messed up, which it kind of was because the Maliks, the other people that came over, actually like infiltrated his group on the other site and just fucked everything up. Like people who got banned and just like because that's what they did. They had the admin kind of wrapped around their finger and. You know, if they wanted somebody dead, they would go in there and God mod, and if they couldn't get their way, the person died by being banned. Well, Maliks came over and started their own thing called the Yamaguchi clan.
This is still going on, isn't it?
No, they're gone. Both of those families are just gone.
I thought there was another similar sound.
What are we talking about? People bringing stuff from other sites over and trying to include it into Roleplay Skita.
Do's and don'ts of
but I'm talking about when I
integration.
first popped over to roll pages from Fairies and Vampires. Yamaguchi clan disappeared because they found out that we don't tolerate the god modding and we don't tolerate auto killing people, and that because of the rules of not allowing to kill people, they couldn't get away with a lot of the shit they got away with in the previous site. So they eventually died off. Oh god, I hate that. Yeah, we just went over with Lime and the guild and all that. But you have the one girl that when I was playing Yule, my bounty hunter, who I can't remember the name of, kept like having guards and everybody has like a military. Like people like create a military and they just bring this military to the site and it's like, we're here for peace. I'm like, no, I don't think you are. I don't think you know how that works. We have a couple like problem children that we're dealing with that are kind of like
You get to
messing
be
around
out for
persistence.
2 minutes.
Like Dragon, FEV, and all them. And a couple of Tolerith's characters.
Oh, yes. Definitely Toler's characters.
Please don't spill the iced tea.
He's empty.
Okay.
I'll stop being salty
Oof,
about Toler
AFK.
when I
Hey,
get the main hall
hey,
back.
Gus. But problem is an understatement. Yeah.
Actually, while you were talking, I had an idea for a character concept I might actually explore.
Oh,
Yeah, well, what the hell?
it's your remote.
Oh, okay. You remember that story? So, nobody take this. It was that that book idea I had about the gods only have power through the worship.
Yeah.
So literally that. But because we have all this problem with people just claiming to arrive as gods already and looking to gain power.
Yeah.
Like just have expected authority. But
We had like 2 or 3 people that actually played it that way, where they had to get worshippers and followers to like actually do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then usually you get people who they try and do it like that, and then they say, "Oh, I have worshippers in another realm. I have infinite power. I'm fine."
Yeah, no, it doesn't work that way.
Which is why I've endeavored to be Siki a god.
Mm-hmm. My solution to people trying to play gods is, all right, I play an Eldritch Abomination that views the gods as prey. Fluff has eaten gods before. Sometimes it gives him a little bit of brain damage or tummy aches, but they've done it. They don't care.
To be fair, Gus was worshipped as a god. Oh yeah, I know Gus was worshipped as a god, and Mora from the Aurelian saga was worshipped as a god too.
Taking care of Felix again.
Roman history. Oh yeah, that's right.
What was that?
And Roman history, yeah. I hate being clumped in with other shitty gods and completely overlooked as a god because I don't act like a god. Yeah, there you go. That's another thing that I pointed out. That's a thing I'm running into with Sin. Both in character and out of character, is that he's angry that I play this all-powerful being as Siki, but don't act like a god should.
Say goodbye.
Big quotes there.
And I'm like, well, for one, Sick is not a god. He's more akin to a force of nature of the universe than anything. And he's a primordial, which again is a force of nature of the universe.
Hopefully you'll be quieter now. Famous last
And the whole reason why he doesn't act like a god is because unlike most of the gods, Siki has rules he has to follow. He's not allowed to do certain things.
Yeah.
And part of the original lore is he wasn't even originally allowed to interfere with the mortals, but because he's from another reality, those rules don't fully apply, which is why he gets away with some of the stuff he does. But he's still not allowed to kill anybody, and he's still not allowed to break promises. That those are one of his two things that he sticks to.
Yeah, like part of that story premise that I had, the power that they have is partially limited to having worshippers and what the expectation from those worshippers are.
Yeah.
The other thing about behaving like a god is it's a really vague term. Like, what pantheon of gods are we talking about? The Asar gods? The Greek gods? Aztec gods?
Let's see. If we want to be the Aztec gods, we can destroy the sun 20 times over.
Right. People just love going for full omniscience.
If we're gonna go for the Greek gods, just act like a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck someone's wife.
We can be like Zeus and fuck everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I have a god for that. Technically.
Ooh, there's the super shotgun.
Oh, you're,
that's a big thing. Yeah, like there's the different god pantheons.
The void.
And it's like those gods were limited to, even though they were gods, that's like a very loose concept because people look at the word God through a very Judeo-Christian lens and assume like full omniscience from everyone, and that's not how it worked.
No, it never worked that way. But another thing is like the whole reason why Sick doesn't foresee himself as a god because, again, he's not. He's a primordial. Is he doesn't see the difference between mortals and gods. He doesn't. He's like, you both act like assholes and you both like fall prey to the same vices and shit. There really is no difference between you. Just one's more powerful than the other. That's it. He's scratching again.
I tried.
That's something I've noticed that I actually pointed out at one point. Is it's like, for someone who is supposedly a god, most of you fall into the same petty shit.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna go into a bar and have a nice dinner with my wife. That's, I figure if you're a god of something, you would have a little bit more of something on your plate besides just, oh, look, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take my daughter out for a lovely picnic.
But Sick's not as hard-ass as he is? What do you mean, Kita?
Gus, maybe?
No, Gus is, Oh, and that's why Kita is who she is. Well, like, I only play technically one actual, like, god of hell if I know, and that's Mora, and she didn't even ask for that. Oh yeah, he's not even as hard-assed as everyone thinks he is. Mora was... She never asked to be a deity. She never wanted to be a deity. It's just she gained so much power that people started seeing her that way, and then a cult was created that worshipped her, so she just kind of... Sicky's a squishy person.
well...
Acrobats over here.
Sorry, like I said, new cage, they're still getting used to the layout. There's like a big drop down the center.
Mora and Keter are now the twin goddesses of Aurelis and Twine. And they're sisters, more or less. But yeah.
Sunset Heart Hands.
Yeah. But another thing I wanted to talk about, other than complaining about noob and noobish things, was the whole fighting stuff, which seems to be another major problem.
Something I can actually comment on.
Yay! Yeah, with noob things. With noob things and auto hitting, all that kind of stuff, and what you.
Rule of thirds.
Yeah, the rule of thirds is my favorite. But like we all know, most of us know the do's and don'ts when you're doing a roleplay fight.
Ellie, what are the basics?
Well, no god modding, which is self-explanatory. No, basically, I mean, I can't really say no planetary destruction because there are some cases where that does happen anyway.
Usually your story is played out and led up to that, though.
Yeah, but like no like infinite universe-sized beam that no person alive could block or dodge kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like you can't. I despise auto hitting. The concept of fast typing means auto hit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's obnoxious.
Well, Gus, that actually brings up a thing. There's T1, T2, Tier 3, T3, and so on. And I know that auto hitting does kind of fall into like T3, 4, and 5 because of their nature. Because it's literally like, I think for T5, it's a limit of 7 to 10 words. And you have like so many seconds to respond before, or it's a hit automatically. And there's like a lot of different rules, but most of us here are used to T1, which is the whole like paragraph detailed kind of thing.
Yeah.
And depending on what type of character you play, some of the rules kind of change. Some people, like magic users, they liked. I don't, depending on what it is. Like to have charge ups when they're doing their spells, like a casting time, basically, kind of like how D&D works.
Yeah.
With certain spells, and like they have to concentrate and not take a hit within that time frame. Yeah. Rules of 3: dodge 3, take 1, and it resets whenever you take a hit anyway. So you can take 1, dodge 1, take 1, so forth. I usually go by that rule. Auto hitting, obviously, don't automatically hit some burn. Everything is an attempt. It's not instant.
The best way I like to explain it is use Magic the Gathering rules.
I do dodge 1, take 2.
What?
Go on, Magic the Gathering. I'm curious.
So what you do is you follow Magic the Gathering rules in that you say, I swing. And then you give the opponent time to react and see how they react to it.
Yeah. Instead of I swing and hit head.
Right, but you can only in contrast to that, you can really only you should only do that as the recipient of the attack so many times. Your character cannot be completely untouchable.
Well, that's where bunnying comes in. They call it bunnying.
Yeah.
Which is somebody who basically just jumps around, dodges everything, never taking a hit.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the time when I not depending on the type of combat I find myself in, I'll write a scenario where I'll take the hit, but I'll also like you said, I like doing the big block, detailed type out. So I'll take a hit, but I'll work in a counter as part of it. Like, okay, you managed to get like a hook shot in at my stomach, but I've got a re-grab on you and then turned and threw you.
Yeah.
So you got a hit on me, but I got something in return.
See, that hand-to-hand fighting is the one of the more difficult things, especially with grabs and stuff like that, because you're self-reliant on the other person to actually let it happen. Right. Because you can say, yes, attempt to grab, even if you're countering. Like, not everybody's gonna be like, I don't want to be thrown, like, kind of thing.
And I didn't want to be hit. You gotta work with it.
It's a check and balance.
You gotta also look at what the person is giving you.
Yeah.
I'm accepting the fact that you got a hit on me. Work with my counter.
Actually, a perfect example of that would be Mugen and Alvida's fight.
That was a really fun fight. Because it had... Not only did it have two people who know how to respect each other as writers, you and me, which is a very important part of roleplay fights, I imagine.
Yeah.
That's why I don't do it a lot with strangers, because most of the time it's just, I want to win! Anyway.
Yeah.
You had two characters with vastly different abilities and skill sets. You had the Elven Barbarian, and you had the Yakuza Yokai sort of character.
Mm-hmm.
You had the one character who had a lot of speed and a lot of power, and the other character who had moderate speed and power but had metal armor, which was a fun matchup.
And
one of them had like unrelenting aggression. The other one just didn't care about dying. It's like this: if you go on, it'll kill you. Good.
yeah, kind of, it was more like that. But the instance of like where you talk about like punch but grabbed is Mugen did a palm strike while Alvita was kind of like mid kick in the air, and Alvita wearing a chest plate, but he's a demon doing a martial arts palm strike with ki behind it, so dent in thing. But in that moment, Alvita grabbed the arm, which was like, okay, that works. So he literally tried to crush, while he was holding me, he's like, fine, if you're not going to let go of me, I won't let go of you. And he tried to crush the chest plate into the elf's chest, and then use him as like basically a boxing glove and try to hit him onto the ground.
Yeah. That's perfect. There was a natural progression to that. It was all right. So you went for that strike. Fine. Then I re-grabbed. Fine. Then I slam you down. It flowed logically.
But you'll have people that would be like, "No, I teleport out of the grab behind you," and then like that kind of thing. Which I'm not knocking teleportation. I've used it, or I've used like super speed. Whatever you want to call it, and different ways to get out of those specific situations. But doing it constantly is the issue.
Yeah. There's an important difference to make between playing a god or a godlike character and god modding.
Yeah. Like I get around the whole, dodge stuff and never taking a hit kind of thing with 6 immortality, which is basically just kind of abusing the can't no kill rule. Sick is immortal. I never dodge with him. He intentionally takes the hits because his blood is actually a weapon if it touches anything. So it's actually beneficial. And the more damage his like shell body gets, kind of progresses to his next like form. Kind of thing.
So, again, for a little insight into Chateau when I start getting my role plays going, if there's ever a combat situation, an ultimate move that he has is he can encompass a certain radius in like a dense like shadow fog as like a combative weapon. But as a result of that, and this is I'm going to kind of use this as a segue, is you can have high-powered attacks that with somebody that's understanding in a role play. Like, okay, so this is an ultimate attack. It needs to do something. I have to allow this to do something.
Right.
But there has to be again like a give and take to it. Chateau's shadow fog move might be a really powerful attack, but it literally is physically stretching him so thin that he's more susceptible to the brightness of the area or any other kind of attack that could hit him. His physical form is being stretched out, so that makes him more susceptible and subsequently weaker. There's a give and a take to this. So if you have a character that has like some sort of like super Kamehameha, finishing move, maybe you work with that. Your character takes some kind of hit, but at the same time, if you're the attacker, you're depleted now. You've lost some energy, and you've got to work with that.
Yeah.
You are, and maybe they didn't die or get injured enough that they're out of the fight. Maybe they're down a limb, but you're also weak enough that if they're not that hurt, they can get the advantage now.
Yeah. But like that covers like the whole bunnying, god modding, and auto hitting. But there's also ghosting, which is my personal pet peeve. And that's when somebody
that's
takes
been fun lately.
There's a lot of that.
Don't break Sushi Cat.
I'm not.
Okay.
But
Sushi cat.
Sushi Cat.
Ghosting is when you take control of another person's character, whether like directly or indirectly, like mind control or stuff like that, without the person's permission.
Yeah.
Another form of ghosting is choosing the person's reactions for them. Like, oh, punches with a force that it sends them flying across the room. Like, okay, you don't know if this person can take a normal human punch without breaking a bone, or if they can take a meteor hitting them smack in the face and be fine. Like, you don't know what their physical resistance is.
Yeah.
So you can't just decide if the person goes flying into orbit or something. And there's a lot of people that do that, and it's like, sorry?
Again, there's a right and wrong way to write that in without knowing what the character is. Either make it in, out of character comment, like, this is my expectation, does that work?
Well, that's what, yeah.
Or write it in that your character anticipates this response and give them the kind of, not that it happens, but the character's expectation is of this, because then that leaves the room for, like, like in any good fighting anime, I punched you in the face, but rather than fly across the room, you just turned back and looked at me, and that, you get that classic, like, oh fuck.
Yeah. Well, a lot of things that I, like, when I do something like that, I usually write, like, this hits with a force any normal person, such and such would happen if they're unable to withstand it, blah, 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 blah. And, like, I would, like, throw those options out there. And then they would react accordingly, okay. There's that. And, okay, there are certain powers as well that piss me off. Clones is one of them.
I'm going
What?
You went from really loud to really quiet, and it's like, it was just a very quick, maybe he went to sleep, but I just want to check. Yeah, no, he's good.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, you're talking about, I think you said me. I went really loud, really bad. But yeah.
Felix was in the castle.
And unfortunately, one of the people, I'm not going to mention anybody because they probably knew who I'm talking about. And I also have to fight him again in a future storyline. Likes to make multiple clones because his real body is in some other isolated location, basically in hibernation.
There is a right and a wrong way to do clones.
And they're physical, like, soul clones, I guess you could say. Like they're him, but they're not, kind of thing. And clones are for me.
I know.
Yeah, I know, Kino's. And Abel, you probably know who I'm talking about too. But yeah, clones are a bit of a thing for me. Now, granted, Sick has kind of a similar premise where it's not like the thing that people are fighting isn't actually him. It's just like a conduit that he's connected to. Like, it's not his actual body. But even then, he can only take that actual body can only like take so much damage before it has to be remade.
Right.
Like you're literally kind of cutting him off from the realm. Like, okay, I gotta wait, rebuild, come back, kind of thing. And but he also regenerates too, so it's not that easy to do that unless you do something that does a lot of damage at once. And that's another thing too, is like healing and regenerative characters. And it's like there's a right and wrong way to play that as well.
I'm just my brain jumped to something. I don't know how many of you know this or read it, but the book for the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Who Censored Roger Rabbit, the original title, rather than running on the notion of cartoon logic, which the movie did, where cartoons could just kind of take enormous tons of damage and be fine. In the book, the way it worked is the cartoons have the ability to create what they call doppels. I think that's what they call it in the book. And basically use them as stunt doubles, because doppels only can exist as pure copies of the cartoon, but they only exist for like half an hour at a time. And then they die, and then they just die instantly. And they use them for stunt doubles whenever they do cartoons.
I like that. It's an interesting concept.
Yeah.
Cartoon physics. That's Gale's ability right there.
Right.
But yeah, trying to think. I covered.
Where was the way up?
What?
He's on Dusk while he's doing it. He's
Oh,
playing Dusk.
okay.
Or at least I think he's still playing Dusk. There's let's see, ghosting, budding, auto hitting. We kind of had issue with ghosting in a narrative sense.
That's pretty much what the hollow.
What hollow? One of my dragons and roleplay. Yeah. Another thing, ghosting is like people were like writing stuff as a narrative, not in a fight, just normal like things that didn't actually happen.
Oh, just a quick little pet peeve. This might come off as obvious, but for the love of God, pay attention to read what people write to you, and pay attention to the nuance.
Okay, you're gonna have to explain that a little bit more. To me, at least.
Something that I figured I would, but something that happens to me a lot when I write in combat scenarios is, again, like I like to be detailed. I'll talk about whether or not I fake left and move right, and like zigzag patterns, and like because I physically have like a martial arts background.
Yeah.
I really like nuanced writing and detail in my combat. I write with the same kind of expectation of how I would physically move.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I can, exaggerate it for the sake of the character.
Yeah.
But I still look at it through that same kind of lens. And so often, I'll get people where I'll talk about, like, I came at from this side, and they'll say, and clearly they didn't pay attention to what I wrote, because they'll talk about moving in the same exact direction. And it's like, okay, if you move that way, then you have unquestionably opened yourself up to an attack from me.
Yeah.
And I can you can read it and tell that they weren't paying attention, because you know that if you wrote well, then you just got obliterated by a shot from me, they'd get pissy. It's like, you can't godmod me that way. It's like, then pay attention to where you're supposed to move.
I specifically, it's one of the rules I follow by. If I wrote, I know a lot of, because like every year or so, people change the RP rules, and like every site's different. Like IMVU has different fighting things. They have referees and everything, which does not work. It does not work because everybody has a bias. People have their own favorite people, and you can't just have somebody declare or void something completely because it doesn't agree with their notions. But aside from that, I always tell people ahead of time, like, I like combo attacks, and I tend to have more. Some people hate you're only allowed to do one move per post, but I always do combo attacks. There's really no reason why you can't do a combo attack, especially if you're following up an attack beforehand.
Preface, but I'm fine with that.
But I always tell them, here, read everything that is. If you don't respond to it, it's going to be a hit. Mm-hmm. So if I decided to throw a kick at you, and then say my character has a gun, fire the gun at you after the kick. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool, you countered or blocked the kick, but the gun's still coming around to shoot you. If you don't do that too, you're just gonna get hit. Mm-hmm. It's realistically. And some people were like, oh, that's not fair. I was like, I wrote it. And I was like, and I completely expect you to throw it at me. If I miss something, I will take the hit for it.
Yeah.
Because there's no reason why someone in a life or death situation wouldn't try and hit you with everything they've got.
Yeah.
And for a bit of it, going.
Sorry.
No, I want to continue on this notion of not paying attention to writing, but it's going to be a bit of a topic shift.
On that note, there are a few people that use that to their advantage by endless posts.
Yeah.
I am somewhat guilty of this, but
Well, somebody in the chat said it's like, fast typing equal auto hit. Yeah, it's not.
But what I mean by endless post is they'll post a big paragraph on top of a big paragraph on top, basically so much to read, they're expecting you to miss something. And that's
I've been guilty
that
of that.
you basically I think two of my biggest pet peeves is one controlling established characters, two when people come in and go and what's going on and yet don't bother to read what's going on in previous. But yeah, that's just normal like RP where they just kind of jump in and be like hi, and like don't read or establish something. We had a few of that, like we were on a spaceship in space and somebody just decided like, who are you people? And it's like, how'd you get on my ship?
Right.
Like in the middle of space. But
I was just going for a walk in the vacuum and
right. I just ended up here.
Yeah.
But yeah, but you have people like that. One particular person, Light, I know tried to do that. We had a person named Light that used to do that. The other thing is the one-uppers, where they'll just kind of
them.
where like, okay, I throw a rock, I throw a boulder, I throw a mountain, I throw a planet, and sometimes we'll just pull powers out of their ass to like overbear you. Which is why I like Sticky, who's just non-existent. Like, oh, okay, gone.
Right.
Come at me, bro. I negate anything you throw at me. Come at me, bro.
In the topic of people not paying attention to what somebody's writing, though, same concept. Bit of a topic shift, though, is in
He's very nice, for sure. Yeah.
in a sexual setting for a sexualized RP. Because I've come across this enough times that it's turned into a pet peeve. Again, paying attention to what people write.
Oh, right.
For like, and I'll let a lot of things go because maybe somebody's kind of into the passion of the moment kind of thing.
Kiss, kiss, bang, bang, done.
Yeah, but not so much a lack of detail, but not paying attention to the nuance. Again, like if my character says that, get started on that. If my character says that I've pinned your hands down like above your head or something like that, don't respond with "you're wrapping your arms around me."
Oh yeah. That kind of goes.
That's
into
more
ghosting.
just a basic reading comprehension thing.
No, because you're not. No, I mean,
you're ghosting because you're writing an action the character didn't do.
What, me
like,
pinning their...
No, like you saying you're pinning, they're saying you're wrapping arms around you. They're making your character do something that you
No, they're wrapping their arms around me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That okay, that's different. But I got you.
Yeah. It's like, when did I let you go?
Yeah, like kind of like that. Yeah, I get
Wake
what you
me
mean.
up before you go.
But yeah, there's stuff like that. Kita, you know what I'm talking about because we ran into stuff like that too, where people were like just kind of like, are you following what I'm picking?
Right. Are you picking up what I'm putting
down?
down?
Yeah, like
A lot of river rain on this cigarette.
I like the little snippets of dust going on in the back.
It's like, yes, Roleplay Rants is important, but so is killing goats with a rocket launcher.
Priorities.
But I'm trying to think of another fighting thing that's a known.
I found the suit!
Yeah. Oh, all right. Let me kind of again flip the issue. Go back to combat again. Again on the topic of paying attention to things that are what is that?
Do you know a character where people are like, how can this be with that? Yeah.
So,
the impossible Selkie.
Yeah. So again, paying attention to what's written. Don't get ahead of somebody either.
Oh yeah.
Situation that I know I found myself in before, where I claim that I've got a character like in an arm bar or something like that, and they're still up. It's just like their arms, twisted out like this.
Yeah.
And they start writing about how they're like trying to like roll off on the ground. And I'm like, did you drop to the ground? When did you say you did that? You realize that if I'm holding your arm this way and you drop, like, your shoulder's being popped out of the socket, right?
Yeah.
Like, pay attention. All I'm saying is that I'm holding you this way.
Martial arts and, like, physical, like, stuff like that is like, I tend to avoid it as much as possible because it's, again, like, people are going to react the way they want to react sometimes, and they're not going to, like, let you do certain things unless they want it to happen. Or you have some people that kind of go the realistic route, and yeah, they do rip their arm off, and
if that's what they want to do,
yeah.
fine. But it's like, when their response is like, okay, I'm stuck on the ground. I'm like, I never put you to the ground.
I've always wanted a dislocated shoulder.
realize the advantage that I actually leave you with.
Yeah.
If you're not all the way down on the ground, you're not in that bad of a place.
Yeah. I mean, I had, who was it? Sixth Sister, Mel, who over-sexualized her fights. And that, yeah, pretty much. It was pretty much like that, and it was funny, like, people have a hard time dealing with her because of it, and it's great. Because, yeah, the maids would hate her. Because, like, she literally got stabbed in like, the stomach with a spear, and her response was to say to the guy, like, you know, at least buy a lady a dinner first before you thrust your pole into her. And the guy's like, what the fuck are you? And she...
What are you? I'm horny.
Yeah, that's her name on the site is literally Melanesia the Sadomasochist, so...
Pay attention to what's written!
Yeah. So you would kind of think,
RTFC, read the fucking character!
Oh, yes, the Usher Labs.
And, like, people would be like, what the fuck's wrong with this person? And, like, some people just couldn't deal with her, so they would, like, I'm out. Kind of like...
Or like people who are like, oh, why are you reacting so badly? I just wanted to hold hands.
And my Angeloid, one of my Angeloid characters that I used to play, Xenobia, was another, like, very masochistic, like, sadomasochistic character who, like, would get, like, really angry if somebody would just kept talking smack, and she'll just be sit there like, just fucking hit me already.
Yeah.
Like... like somebody would like punch her. She's like a mechanical being, so like somebody would punch her, and she's like, "Thank you," and then like, you know, do the fight, bloodthirsty and everything, kind of thing. Hit me hard, kick me in the Jimmy. I just want to get that hot dog.
But yeah, so like again,
what's your name? Your giant lady who usually sits in the Cass. Castilla, yeah, she's another. Yeah, but Cass, I've never had Cass in a fight like recently. Like ever since her big shift in character, where she became the giant primordial person that she is. She doesn't use sexual things, because in her fights, she's kinky and yet scary as fuck. Yeah, exactly. She the way I usually have her if she ever does fight is usually she has like her sheer strength and the fact that she owns the it's a grimoire called I can't remember what it was called now. Demonicum something. It's the hierarchy of demons, basically. It has all the generals, their legions, and stuff like that. So she basically summons them, because, you know, she rolls the 9 hells. But she's also a transcendent...
FELIX!
Motherfucker, just go to fuck the bed.
You're doing good for a while.
But yeah, she's like a primordial of demons. So she has like this lording darkness around her, like basically she does not focus. She focuses on like lust, but that's not her like main power source.
I don't know what I thought clapping would do, but
They're ferrets. They're not dogs. Hey, you look like went under the blanket just like
he
that.
just wants attention.
Hey. Yeah, I'm talking to you. Yeah, I'm petting your ear. Hey,
Love me. Love me.
don't bite my finger. I will poke you.
No, you got out for a little while already. Cut it out.
Boop.
Yeah, climb up the cage. Do that.
Yeah,
And
Felix.
don't fall down the void again.
Is that the furry beast making that noise? Yeah.
Yeah,
They like to
Try to dig through the
dig
plastic.
to the bottom of the cage.
Cage.
Feed them treats.
They got treats earlier.
They got treats. They've been running around.
Yeah, they had a pretty good
Not even an
day.
inch. Alright. But yeah, they're like what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Cass. She also runs a strip club, but
Oh, poor Matt Black.
Nom-noms. But yeah, like again, I'll talk about Chatone and just like the right kind of approach to the right kind of character. People I've had. No, it hasn't necessarily happened with Chatone, but just a good example is like looking at what the character is made of. Attacking a giant. Going straight up and trying to whack him is not necessarily going to work against a giant. You need a different tactic. Same thing with Chatone. He's a shadow demon. Don't get pissy if your straight punches aren't going to affect a character that doesn't really have a physical form. When all you gotta do to hurt him is turn on a flashlight.
unless you're a certain barbarian that tries to poke a giant demon with a door.
Well, I've heard about this door.
I proved my point, though. And it didn't bother out of
Yeah, Abel, you were one of the bartenders that at the strip club, and then you quit and started your own.
But I'm like, the more we're talking, the more I'm just imagining like people that are going to kind of screw that up. Oh, we got a loot thing. Was it from someone?
We'll find out if it has a message. It's still. Who posted? Maybe, it might have been an automatic one.
Okay.
We'll find out in a second.
Yes. What?
Yep, it's an automatic one.
Automatic.
Yes, an automatic message.
You can always do loots by
Loots!
Loots! Exclamation point.
Exclamation point loots.
Yes. But yeah, I'm just like I'm imagining now
food.
people that are not going to pay attention, and I'm going to run into like this problem
That was a sound.
of like if I get a combat scenario and it's like, they're going to keep trying to come at me, and I'm not even going to have to necessarily type in that I dodge. It's like, you got a torch, you got a flashlight, you got something that carry a fucking lighter. Do something else.
got it, smokes.
These certain things aren't going to work. It's like I'm not trying to god mod or anything like that. I'm playing the character the way the character works.
Yeah. Yeah, there, Oop, shoot. Here we go.
Yeah.
See, some characters condone unrelenting aggression.
We never... Arietta. We were supposed to go somewhere with Arietta and I think Cass, and we never really did. But yeah, what you were talking to the bloody door. But yeah, there's a... Pardon, Sushi Cat. Just been fidgeting with it.
Sushi Cat is fun.
Oh yeah, you're definitely gonna have people that are to like do stuff, and don't name characters if you don't fucking know who they are. It's another thing that bothers me so much. Like, oh hi Chatone, who are you?
Yeah, right.
How do you know my name?
And then poof.
Nani the fuck?
Okay, because of real life, yeah. And like you have people like that, or my favorite again. This goes back to Yule. How do you know my name? Oh, I know things. You just came to this planet, so did I. How do you know things? I know because I know.
Hey.
Oh,
Hey, Max.
I see y'all.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
No,
No,
no worries.
Are you a sleepy wifey?
You sound it.
Yeah, I like laid down at 5 something-ish for this nap, and I only woke up at 8:45-ish.
Yeah, I didn't, because Discord has streamer mode on, so it doesn't give notifications. So I didn't see your message until just now. So.
Okay.
I laid down. For
Otherwise,
a
I would have been
10-minute
like, "Yeah,
nap.
come on, yeah." I would have been like quicker.
I laid down for a 10-minute nap and I woke up tomorrow.
So we covered your topic, Max.
Oh, okay.
A little bit. We touched on it about
We can redirect for your
trying
sake.
to talk to new people and help them, and then being bullshitters about it. We talked about people trying to bring their storylines from other sites in, like Lime and the Guild, and auto hitting and saying people's names and you don't know them. And Kita just brought up a topic saying having partners who don't understand that real life is a fucking thing and expect you to be online all the time.
Like, I know I nag you guys sometimes, but I know that shit has to go down. So,
But you're not like certain people like Antonius, excuse me, who literally like beg and whine like, I don't think you guys like me. Why don't you just tell me if you don't want to do this? Why don't you just say so? I'm like, dude, shut up. You and your what a gay hard on for Sicky, which I was still trying to figure that one out. But yeah, that was a thing. Almost went along with it for the lols, and then I just decided against it.
for the lols!
For the lures.
For the lols!
Lol.
Shit.
Off topic, but how do you spell that?
What?
Lol. If you're going to actually like spell out the word lol, how would you write it out?
It would be exactly how it's spelled normally, LOL. Or LAWL.
You see, I write LAWL a lot, and I get people looking at me weird for it.
Well,
How do you pronounce it? Lol.
Yeah. LOL.
and then there's lull, which is Lull, which is an actual word.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a.
Which is an actual word,
Yes. It's funny because that's the only real word.
yeah. What is this confuckery?
I keep thinking I need to conserve ammo, but then I realize I have like 50 grenades. I am fine. Whee!
So, are we still live?
Only when I
Yes.
stream.
We are still
What's
alive.
that noise?
That is the ferrets scratching the bottom of their cage.
We have done practically everything we can think of to make them stop. We've taken them out.
It's
we've-
only one of them.
That's because I'm sure Ruby's just laying there holding her ears down going, why?
Hey, you. Go to sleep. Be a sleepy boy.
About to feed him like a better, like crush up a better girl and feed it to him. Knock him out.
I just happened to look up at the... No, I'll talk to you about this later.
What?
I'm not going to say it on screen.
Oh, I found
I
another key.
will.
We're okay.
I just happened to look up while you were like leaning over there talking to the ferrets, and one of the wolves on your pajama pants like just perfectly stretches over your ass.
Well then. But Mama, so much fun.
Okay.
Stretchy ass!
Like I'm just laying like this, and then I look up and I just see like wolf, and I'm like, ah.
Anyway, Maduga, what are you trying to say?
So, what else are we covering tonight?
We were just... Mother of God. Oi.
Talk around the damn fuzz snakes. We will be fine. Do not worry. Actually, worry a lot. I'm usually never fine. Eep. I can't even tell if I'm supposed to be stacking boxes like this or if I am just an idiot. I'm doing the world of service and breaking up a random roleplay rants with Dusk Talk.
Anyway, we were talking a little bit about battle things.
Or like the T1.
The ferrets won't stop.
Both.
I'm gonna trank you your ass.
Felix.
So put him in the ball.
I
He's
did.
been in the ball. He's been running around all day. The fact that he's not asleep already is amazing.
He's a ferret. He's after his owner, or at least this point in time right now, his dad. Hey,
Oh, poor
hey,
Sticky.
Alright, I'm getting ready to put him back in the ball. Fine.
you know what? Use this as training
Don't even start.
for when you actually have a two-legged version of him.
I would hope the two-legged actual spawn of you two would be smart enough not to try to dig through a concrete floor with their face.
I have never seen a child that smart.
Because that's what this one's trying to do.
No, he's trying to he's trying to get himself comfy.
Comfy?
Yes!
He moved the soft blanket away to dig at the hard surface. So obviously not
Exactly.
comfort.
Look at
He's
this.
trying to
This is the.
tip his claws.
Look at
This
yourself.
is the bait of our existence right now.
Look at yourself.
Feel your shame.
And I'm standing over here literally laughing like a loon. Going,
So, since you're here, Max, anything you would like to cover?
I don't know. I just
Give me 1 second so I can turn you up a little bit.
okay.
So people can hear you more. Okay, you're good.
I don't really know if there's anything specific I want to cover tonight except what I already mentioned and what was already covered.
Well, talk about it.
Talk more about that. 'cause
Your
we didn't,
perspective on it.
We really didn't get too into that.
We said it was your topic. You must have something specific to talk about.
Okay, well, it's just, when you try to offer your advice to newcomers because, they're new to the site, they're new to how things function, and they're going to be a little confused, and so you try to just offer a bit of friendly advice to them, to try to show them the ropes, and I have had 2 recent experiences
Oh, hey,
with
yeah.
this, and one was extremely positive, where someone asked me how on Enroll Pages the chat known as Otherverse works.
Yeah.
So I taught them that this is where we do scenes that don't really apply to any of the other main rooms, and usually we have people ask before they can join, things like that, blah, blah, blah.
Mm.
And he was really polite, and he was just very grateful to me for being so patient and kind to him because he had just joined the site about half an hour ago before asking.
Yeah.
And I was very happy to be able to help him out because he just needed that little bit of guidance. On the other hand, the night before, I tried to offer a bit of a piece of advice to a newcomer
I remember this.
after asking them a question about their character because I was like, question, is this baby you're playing an NPC or not? Because her profile was really vague, but the image was for a teenage girl.
Yeah.
So I thought this might be an NPC, and she's like, "No, duh, it's my character." I'm like, "Oh, okay." In that case, my suggestion would be that if this is really your character, then maybe you change your image if you're not going to change your profile, so people don't mistake it for an NPC and it gets auto hit. And she responded with, "Go fuck yourself."
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, you get people like that.
Or lady, when you tried to ask them, hey, maybe you try and explain this a little better, because we have some people who are reading this who are thinking, are you trying to do something funky? And then it's like, no, I guess my writing's just too complicated for you people.
Oh yeah, that was another thing. Where like a person, they involved my character indirectly in a post where it said something about
I remember
looking
this,
at them and then feeding off of something of theirs. And so when I tried to clarify in PMs what this person was doing, they said, oh, I was feeding off of the negative energy that Iris was producing.
But that's not
And
what you
That's
said.
fine. Say it.
And then I was like, okay, I just couldn't tell by the way that you worded it.
Yeah.
And then she was like, oh, I guess my character is too complicated for you to understand. I'm like, no, that's not it.
And what
They
was
are
it?
not complicated just because you don't know how to write something.
Yeah, it's like, what was my response to that? Oh yeah, Siki's a complicated character, but people can get him.
Fluff is really fucking complicated. That's because I kind of kept adding things to them and never stopped.
You can have an extremely complicated character, but whether or not people are able to understand your posts all comes down to
The writer.
how you write your actions.
Yeah. I
You gotta
know.
put him back because he made a mess.
Oh jeez.
It will start again. You've
Yeah.
doomed us all.
I think he's learned that scratching means I get out of cage, therefore he's gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I just adjusted the blanket, so hopefully it will be less.
He'll probably pull it out.
I fell down.
But yeah, like
Roleplay Rants and Dusk, audio only commentary.
yeah, like I remember a few of the experiences I've had with it where like I've had positive and negative things. I've had people who like just new people just directly message me because of how I played my character Siki. Like, you're a twisted little fuck.
It's like, oh hey, that's my character.
And it's
I
like
usually get character like messages from people saying like, "Oh hey, your character's neat." I'm like, "Oh, thanks."
cool. Yeah.
It's always at random, and it's never someone who ever talks to me again, though.
Yeah.
So it never
Yeah.
goes anywhere.
Kinda like Tinder.
Uh-uh.
But
That sounded bitter.
slightly. But I remember one of the other times when I first made Necros, like way back when. We
Necros.
had this is when we still used Ning Chat. This is before like the Red Sun and everything. I had Necros,
No!
and Necros is part of Lila's I can't pronounce her name right. Storyline for a long time. She used to be somebody that used to play all the time. Before like the big split up and all that, but there was a girl who also played a vampire with another dude who would hang out with Necros, and she was very noobish, very and within I'd say a couple of interactions with us for the span of maybe a month or two, she went from one-liners to like multi-paragraphs. Like, you know, she kept going, she wanted to learn. It's like, that's cool. Like, you know, stuff like that where like, you know, we help her out, like, hey, you know. And she learned basically the same way I did. She just observed how everybody else wrote and tried to basically replicate it.
That's a pretty good distinguishing point. The people who want to learn and the people who
Just wanna
want to
fuck
do
around.
things their way.
Yeah. I was like, personally, I don't really have an issue with one-liners. It's just people who one-line and act stupid. And
I have my
like,
character that really only works in one-lines. Your dad.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah, but your dad is the best. So.
Your dad's a troll, and Necros also does one-liners, like actual one-liners.
Just, oh.
Do you fuck good? "Hey, sure, may I have another?" I'm gonna create more eventually as I use him, but apparently we have a new person who's a vampire hunter that Sassy wants to join with Necros to deal with, and I was like, I'm gonna tell you right now, Necros will deal with this because he likes to protect other vampires, but he's gonna do it in the Necros way.
It will not be nice.
No, it will not be nice. It will not be clean, and
I am not nice.
Give me another beer. But
Does he have his arms back? I don't think he does.
no, he's still. Well, I think around this time. I'm sure he's regenerated by now. But yeah, he did yeet himself out the window with no legs or arms. The last time we talked with him, and he scared. He like creeped the fuck out of Cameron because that is my vampire character.
Damn it.
Yeet. Shit.
My box is okay. My box is no longer okay. Third time's the charm.
Audience, if there's any other topics you wish us to cover, please let us know.
Yeah.
I think we kind of mostly covered things.
We covered everything we at least planned for today. For a future topic, always feel free to drop us a line, though.
Oh, yeah, we'll take suggestions anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No!
You as the audience, and that includes here in the chat at Twitch and also on YouTube if you leave a comment there. Viewer comments always take priority.
Yes.
You get jumped to the head of the line.
Other than that, I know tomorrow is philosophy, and this is going to be Fluff's favorite thing because we're going to talk about good villains versus bad villains.
Mm-hmm.
Well, good and bad is probably the wrong term, but you know what I mean.
Well, you know what I mean.
Rearrange that.
Decent villains versus... No, that's the same thing. Damn it.
Effective villains versus
Non-effective villains.
There you go.
the other kind.
The other kind.
The No, it wouldn't be the non-desirables. It would be the desirable.
Yeah.
No, wait, no, that doesn't necessarily work either. Damn it.
The sickies and the coals.
There we go.
We'll use that analogy.
The well-written and well-portrayed versus the non-well-written.
There we go, that's easier. Thank you for finding the words I cannot, because I do have to...
It's really strange when I'm the one who has the right words.
You're the wifey, you have the smirks.
The not lol evil.
1 bedroom, 1 bath for $725.
Nice.
So I'm busy house searching, so I'm a little distracted.
Welcome to Roleplay Rants / Dusk Commentary / House Searching.
Well, I'll say this.
None of which you'll actually get to see.
I'll just share this link with you for you to see later.
Oh.
That's perfect. We'll say that shout out for tomorrow.
Well, yeah, there will be. We'll shout that out for tomorrow. But there is a thing for villains.
Intake on a video game.
On the video game topic stream.
That's Tuesdays and Fridays.
Yes, Tuesdays.
Words.
Yes, Tuesdays and Fridays.
Those are our game and dice. At least that's when we play games.
Yeah, video games are Tuesdays and Fridays. And
well, technically Wednesdays too, but
oh yeah, well, I was just about to say we're changing up Wednesdays a little bit. That was originally the open forum discussion, rant and rave, tangent talk night, and there still will be an element of that, but we're adding tabletop related gaming, so board gaming. Even if we're playing it as a video game, tabletop gaming is the theme for Wednesdays from now on.
Oof.
Does anybody want ferret skin shoes?
salt. I has the salt. But yeah, we okay. Well, yeah, it's everything. So come here. See us tomorrow at 11 or midnight for Wednesdays. I forget. Midnight?
Yeah, Mondays and Wednesdays are at midnight.
Yeah, midnight. Be here at midnight.
Take care.
Roll credits.
There you are.
Oh god, I'm in the wall.
Felix!
Oh god. Oh god. Oh god.
I know you know
Okay.
your name.